From retro to next gen, we've got it all. I'm George, a Gen X grown-up, and this is Bit by Bit. Those of you who have been following Gen X GrownUp for some period of time probably know that I love me some pro wrestling, so I couldn't resist including this bit from WhatCulture.com, all about the 15 best wrestling games of all time in their opinion. The author's name is Jamie Kennedy. Jamie did a tremendous job in curating this list. Now, there are a lot of wrestling games on this list that I don't even know or recognize, but what I really appreciate about what he did is not just the synopsis that he gave and the history about the game, that kind of thing, like when it was released, what platforms, all that, but he did a really nice job with his in-depth analysis of each game. This is one of those articles where you have to click next to get to each one instead of a scroll down, so it can take a little bit of time to read this one, but there are some good pieces of information in this list. I highly recommend it. Here's Saturday Night Slam Masters. That is absolutely a fun game. I'll go through a couple more just before we end this little segment out, but yeah, WWF WrestleFest, that was a really great one as well. And he goes, like I said, he goes on, he tells you what platforms it might have been on, how it's related, some of the stories behind how it was created. It's just a really well done article. It might take you about 10 or 15 minutes to get through it, but if you're a video game fan and a pro wrestling fan, this is probably a bit for you. And here's a bit for those who are on a budget but still want to enjoy our retro gaming wirelessly. We've got the best inexpensive Bluetooth controllers for gameplay, especially for retro gaming. I love this article because I agree with a lot of the entries on the list. First up, the 8BitDo 02. This little thing is awesome. It's like $20, I think, or something like that, and it's super affordable. But the thing I love about the most on this one is its portability. Literally fits in the pocket so easily, you could probably lose it in some big jeans pockets. You got the Retrobit Sega Genesis wireless controller here that's on the list. Another 8BitDo entry, Light 2. You got the Retro Flag Classic. I love that they go through each one of these, not just for how affordable they are, but also giving you a little bit more detail on the controls and what to expect and what type of games that it might be well suited for, or what type of platforms. Obviously, PlayStation 3 is going to have an entry in there. Just the fact that all of these, I think, are under like $50, that's a really nice list. And I appreciate Destructoid.com for taking the time to put the list together, because I am often inundated with all these different ads I see all the time over Facebook and on YouTube and everywhere else trying to tell me, buy this gaming controller, buy that gaming controller. At least this article just puts the information out in front of me and lets me choose. Now, not too long ago, I featured a bit talking about one of the Dreamcast emulators that is now doing the Dreamcast Online. Well, this article from Forbes.com talks about a recent YouTube video where this young man, he's probably closer to my age now, has documented his entire retro gaming life, and that's kind of the title of his YouTube channel. It's called My Retro Life. And this particular video is all about how this person enjoyed and played and their experience with Dreamcast Online. So the guy who runs the channel, his name is Tyler. He's not the author of the article, but the guy who wrote the article is a big fan of the channel, and I find that's really nice. That gives me a good sense of warm retro vibes, that somebody out there is paying attention and notices all this content that retro gamers are putting out on YouTube right now. It's a very big arena, as we all know, and Gen X GrownUp is right in the center of it, of course. But this article goes into just what you can expect to watch in the video series. This guy has a ton of old videos that his father was apparently very studious about recording their whole journey of retro gaming, which is really cool. And this guy has dug this stuff out of some storage warehouse somewhere and decided to put it up on the internet for us in a nice way. So it's almost like a historical documentary, a little bit, of someone's experiences as they went through Dreamcast Online and their retro gaming experiences growing up. I find this article really fascinating. The YouTube video is great. Definitely go check it out. All right, here's an interesting bit that I recently came across. A whole bunch of old video games were found on a really old like cruise ship over in England. It's a ship called the Duke of Lancaster, which apparently is set for 30 years, just completely abandoned. Somebody was doing just like, I guess, you know, walking around and jumped into the ship or something. Anyway, they found a whole bunch of these old arcade games that were just sitting in this ship, which was, you know, just falling apart due to time. Anyway, the ship originally set sail in 1956. I guess it kind of just stopped operating in 1983, a few decades later. Some urban explorers in 2009 found a whole bunch of this stuff, and it's taken all this time to figure out who owned the ship and what the rights were and everything like that. They finally got through to the people. There's over like 50 arcade cabinets here, and you could see some of the things in the pictures here. We've got an asteroids machine and a few others that are from that like 70 to 83 era, which is really very cool. Interesting and slightly kind of troubling. The guy who owned the ship, thereby also the arcade machines, once he figured out what was there and how valuable they were, he actually raised the price on the guys who were trying to get the whole collection together and get it out of there before they all got destroyed from weather and damage and everything. So he raised the price on them, and then he told them, by the way, you got 10 days to get it all out. The main guy, he got a whole group of 12 different dedicated collectors together, and they actually got everything out before the deadline. So thank God these machines were found and restored and brought off ship. You can see, like, just imagine finding 50 arcade games just like in their original habitat from this cruise ship. That's just awesome. Makes my heart, you know, happy to hear that they were salvaged. I know the ship is still, you know, deteriorating and it's just falling apart and everything, but at least we got the arcade games out. Head over. I'll have the link down in the description for you to check this out. All right, here's a bit that my buddy Mo here at GenXGrownUp ought to enjoy from ShoreNewsNetwork.com. It's an article that discusses the wonderful Atari classic release, Tempest. This article is a great read. Takes about probably 5 or 10 minutes or so, but it goes into the history of the game, what made it unique, what made it awesome, why it was groundbreaking, gives you some of the features of the game here. Just goes into just everything that's awesome about Tempest. And we love Tempest here at GenXGrownUp, but none of us more so than Mo, I think, at this point. He's a huge fan of that game, and I mean, it's just awesome. Talks about the legacy and some of the stuff that's come out since the original Tempest 2000, 3000, and 4000. You know, just a timeless classic, like the article says. I highly recommend taking a moment to go read this article. I'll have the link down in the description if you'd like to check it out. That's going to do it for the news making headlines in the gaming world right now. I am George, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep on bringing you the news bit by bit.